Welcome to the UTI Swatantra series powered by ET Now. This is an ongoing investor education initiative. The idea is to help you understand how to save, how to invest, and how to get rich over the long term. If you have any questions for us at all, you can reach us on our website. We have a website for this entire series. It's indiainvestguru.com. You'll find copies of our shows on that website. You can leave us a question. If you'd like to join us in the studio, that would be a great way to get in touch as well. Alternatively, you can tweet out a question, #InvestGuru. It'll be our pleasure to hear from you. We have an audience full of very young people. They're all married. They're looking forward to starting families soon. And the idea is to get together right now and put our heads together and come up with the best financial plan for someone who's planning to start a family in the next couple of years. Two gentlemen in the studio helping us answer all of those questions. Quick round of introductions. Nikhil Nayak is the Chief Growth Officer at Nayak Wealth. And Bharat Ghia is the Executive Vice President, Head Banking and Distribution Channel at UTI Mutual Fund. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in. We keep talking about saving, investing, picking the right products, but the truth really is that the biggest advantage all of the young people have, especially this particular group, is time and is age, the fact that they can start now. And if they start now, they'll save themselves a lot of heartache in the future. Talk about how, they can make the most of the time they have right now.
50% of our population is around 25. More than 65% is around less than 35. And the biggest asset, like Einstein had said, that eighth wonder of the world is power of compounding. And power of compounding does not need too much of money. It needs more of time. So if they can actually give lot of time to their money. Just to give you an example, if they are at 30 and in next 30 years if they keep saving 1 lakh rupees, even if the money grows at 8%, they'll have 1.27 crores on their hand. It's quite a bit of money. And if the money grows at 15%, they'll have 4.95 crores on their hand. So I think power of using time and power of compounding, they can actually make a lot of wealth for themselves in coming times.
But we talked about 1 lakh rupees a year, and that might seem like a lot of money. But even if we broke it up and did a minimum 1,000 rupees a month right now, or 5,000 rupees a month right now in a mutual fund, in an SIP, which is actually currently in our market the simplest way to approach investments. What kind of power can that give me over the course of 30 years if I start today?
I think three things in in savings are important. One is how much I should save. Two, how long I should save. And third is what kind of returns I can generate out of the savings which I do. Out of these three things, third thing, you should always leave it to the people to whom you give your money. The two things which is very important is to start with is how much I can save and how long I should be saving it. So power of compounding will always help you if you have a saving plan for the long term and not for the short term, because all your expenses are going to happen over a period of time and not going to happen immediately. And you design your financial planning accordingly, where you require a smaller percentage to use it immediately, but larger percentage you require for the future. But two things which is very important is start saving and then, saving it for the longer term. So that is going to help you, building in capital over a period of time.
One of the most charming things about the audience we have in the studio today is that it's dominated by women. And I think that's a really heartening thing to know that among these new married couples, women are taking control and saying, okay, you know what, I'm going to get this done. We're going to start saving and I'm going to make sure we do it, which for me is really heartening to see more and more young women take control of their finances and their husband's money also, if you can. I want to start opening the floor for questions. If you have a question, go ahead.
Majorly my investments are into either a fixed deposit, as our elder also suggests us for fixed deposits and all, or either insurance policies and all. So I want to understand, is it risky in investing mutual fund or is it safe to play in mutual fund?
Actually, before we answer that question, I have another question for you. When you say you're investing right now, whether that's in fixed deposits or in insurance policies, what is this money for? Do you have a plan for this money? Are you putting it in with a specific idea of what you're going to do with this money?
Yes, specifically we are in insurance is your LIC, so it's like for 25 years we have a plan, so that is for and recurring deposits, so it's like after certain years we get good amount and my loan can get settled in that way.
What loan is this?
Home loan.
Okay, so you have a home loan. Okay.
Yes. So and investments like for you need require for future also for your parents and all. So some kind of investments in that as well.
All right, so
Fixed deposits
there are
and all.
3 goals here. One is a home loan that needs to be paid off. The other one is short-term or medium-term goals, which might arise over the next 3 or 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. And then there's the 25-year, 30-year goals of maybe retirement. I want to first address this, which I think is very important for everybody who's listening and everybody who's watching at home. The idea of paying a loan and running a recurring deposit side by side with the same bank is hugely damaging to your money. Do you want to
Correct.
explain to her why?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're getting, let's say, 8% on your recurring deposit, and on the same money, you're actually paying them 10% or 11 or 12%. I've always said that biggest asset in a bank's balance sheet is our ignorance. So this ignorance is actually eating into your investments. You're actually not working for yourself. We are actually working for the bank. So this 2% of, like she said, is really damaging to your portfolio. The first thing that I would suggest is try and enhance your EMIs or make some larger amounts towards your home loan, and then try and reduce your tenure of the overall loan, or reduce the overall amount that you are supposed to pay over a period of time.
Just makes sense for you to increase that EMI. So stop the recurring deposit and just use the money to pay a higher EMI so your loan gets done faster. That would be the efficient way to do what you need to do. The other
I think
question,
it is also linked to the financial planning. So you are at an very young age, right? So you can still take some sort of risk by investing money into the equity related products. Do your financial planning in such a way that you decide your goals. Accordingly, you start investing into the various products available in the mutual fund.
So when she that was her question as well. She
Yeah.
said, well, how risky is it for someone who's only ever done fixed deposits or recurring deposits to now start investing in mutual funds?
So it all depends, what is your time horizon for investing money into the mutual fund. So if you invest money into the mutual fund for a very shorter time period, like 6 months or 8 months or 1 year, you'll end up taking in volatility of a markets, right? Even on the debt side also, you'll find some risk which is there. But over a period of time, so for example, if you look at in 3 years, 4 years or 5 years, your risk start coming down and you generate in better returns. So always look at investing money into the mutual fund products for a longer period and not for the shorter period.
So we're fortunate enough to have a financial planner here.
Yeah.
So, to just solve her problem, one goal is 25 years away, one goal is 5 years away. What would you recommend for both of those goals?
No, so see, we have to also understand mutual funds do not mean only equity funds. Mutual funds have categories like liquid funds, which are slightly better, can offer you slightly better returns than your savings account and give you much better and keeping your liquidity as well as volatility in mind. So that's one. Then you have 2 through 3 years and 5 years for 3 to 5 years time horizon. You have balance funds or hybrid funds which have lesser amount of equity. And I think for a 25-year period, owning businesses, which is investing into equity funds, makes a lot of sense. I think so. If you place it, if you create 2 or 3 buckets of your own goals and put those investments accordingly, you will be able to optimize your returns.
It's time for us to take a really quick break, but when we come back, we'll answer more questions from our audience. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching the UTI Swatantra series powered by ET Now. Thank you for staying with us. We're answering questions of young people who are looking to start families soon, and they're trying to make the most of their finances and prepare for the big responsibilities of life. And they have lots of questions. I'm going to take a question from this side. Does anybody have a question?
Over the years, we are going to plan a house for ourselves. So how do we plan it about?
The first thing that you have to understand is that, let's say, if you are willing to pay an EMI of 40,000 or 20,000 per month, start investing that amount from today somewhere, because then your family, as a family, you get used to paying that, not having that 20,000 in your account. B is then you should look at what kind of house you want to buy. In fact, as married couples, we need to sit down and discuss what are the money values that we want to inculcate as a married couple, what kind of house we want to live in, what kind of expenses we want to incur, what kind of lifestyle we want to have, and also what kind of retirement life we want to spend. So based on these things, then you can decide. Let's say you want to buy a house 3 years from now, then how much of money you would need 3 years from now for the down payment, and what is the EMI.
You know, I want to bring you in here, Bharat, on this. We get a lot of these questions from people who are looking to buy a house because you have this goal in mind. You've put together the big chunk of the down payment, which is 20%. And a lot of times people write to us saying, okay, we've put together this amount and now we are hunting for this house and it's going to take some time. It normally takes about a year to actually execute the whole thing. What do I do with that money in the meantime? I don't want to leave it in my savings bank account. It's only going to make 4%.
Sure.
And, you know, you have to pay tax on it. It's not the most even efficient way to do it. What do we do with that money? Is there an efficient way to invest that money?
Sure. You know, if you think that it is going to take in 1 year to get your house, okay, but then it can be in 9 months also, it can be in 8 months also, it can be in even 13 months also. So there are various products available on the mutual fund side, and the less riskier because you require money immediately, right? So there's a product called a money market and liquid fund, okay, which is ideally for an investors who doesn't know what is the time period, you know, this investment will be. So I need money any given point in time. At the same time, I should also be earning and better than what I'm getting it in other traditional products. So there's a liquid plan available in mutual fund industries. They can, you know, invest into the liquid fund and get in higher returns. Along with that, you get in liquidity also. So money is available with you. And mostly these are the safer products. I'm not saying there is no risk involved, but there's not much risk also involved into the product like a liquid fund, right? So if you have 6 months, 8 months or 1 year time horizon, you can always look at product like a liquid fund.
Anyone on this side has a question?
Keeping in the mind like how much you want to save and till what extent you want to save, parallelly goes the budget.
Correct.
Okay, so in certain circumstances, how do we do this planning?
See, what happens in India, we generally save money after, you know, meeting all our expenses. Ideally, it should be other way around. You should save first, and then whatever money is available, you should spend that money. You also look at what are your goals. So if you have a 2 years goal, okay, then certain percentage of your investment should go into 2 years product. If you require money after 5 years, right, so certain percentage of your savings should go into the product which gives you better returns after 5 years. So you have to decide your time horizon first. Accordingly, there are the products available in the mutual fund where you can invest money.
Over the last 3 years, salaries have not grown at the same pace as inflation has grown. So a lot of us, if we've only gone up, say 10% year on year, you'll find that your budget is a little tight at this point because expenses have gone up far higher than our salaries have moved. So what is your advice normally to a client who's just trying to budget, maybe cut down some expenses, find out where, you know, the money is going out right now from the family budget? What's the best way to do that?
So I agree, and not only the inflation has gone up, the lifestyle inflation has also gone up. If we can actually look at our EMIs, where there are a lot of leakages that we see in our own portfolio. You know, managing those smaller things smartly can actually give you additional money. Rupees saved is rupee earned. You know, you can save on EMI. One can go back to the bank and try and reduce our interest rate. We can check for credit card. Are we paying additionally? Especially in younger crowd, we see this, that people tend to roll over their credit, and we end up paying 36% to the bank. These are small things that can be followed, and you can actually save a lot of money over there. And then comes the investment part. Like Bharat Bhai was saying, if you actually ensure that the day money hits your account is invested somewhere else, it could be a recurring deposit or a SIP or anything. It should not remain in your savings account. That's the key. Once you do that, once it is little difficult for you to access that money again, then saving and budgeting doesn't become a much of a problem.
The young man in the front, go ahead.
I have so many options in front of me for investment like PPF, FD and other. So I'm just little bit confused, and how can I get like better life value of money of like with respect to time? How should I get and that value, and where should I go?
I think you talked about all the options, but equity or mutual funds. I think you shouldn't be investing into fixed deposits or PPF. You have to actually identify your goals, and if you have 3 years, 2 to 3 years of time horizon for your goals, it's more of parking than investments. So you can actually look at recurring deposit, liquid fund, SIP or something of that sort for a 3-year time horizon. For investments, you also talked about insurance. To my mind, if I was to invest, I would not invest into an insurance scheme. I would purely, I'll just take a pure term cover and start investing that money somewhere else, because term cover is the cheapest. you should not ideally mix the two investments and insurance into one product. So that's one. The second is if you have other goal which is 20 years from now, you should definitely look at investing into equity SIPs or investing into equities directly if you have the time and knowledge. But like you said, you would not want to dedicate, you don't have that time and knowledge. So I would go with an equity SIP for you in the long run. Because just remember one thing, when you are investing into a fixed deposit, you are actually lending money to the bank. Okay, in the 20-year time period, by lending one cannot become rich. One can create wealth only by owning something. So if you're comfortable lending money, that is investing into a fixed deposit in that bank, I think even if you own that bank for next 10, 15 years, you'll create much more wealth than you would have created in fixed deposits.
I think there are 2-3 things which is very important which you need to look at when it comes to investing into the mutual fund vis-a-vis the other products. One is how liquid your investments are, number one. Number two is what kind of post-tax return you generate out of the investment what you made, right? And are you generating more than the inflation rate? I think if you look at these 3 things, then you will always find mutual fund is a better option to invest money. And as I mentioned about 3 benefits you get, I think that's the only option available for an investor like you. I think 2 things which is very important. One is a discipline in investment, right? The other important is, and for everyone is, reduce your high debt. For example, investment. So for example, credit card. As you mentioned about credit card, you end up paying a lot of interest on credit card itself. So you need to cut down that first. Then whatever surplus is available, you start investing money into the mutual fund.
All right, it's time for us to take another very quick break. But when we come back, more questions from our audience. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching the UTI Swatantra series powered by ET Now. Thank you so much for staying with us. And remember, if you have a question for us, you can reach us on our website. That's at the bottom of your screen. It'll be our absolute pleasure to hear from you. We have questions from our audience members. Yes, go ahead.
I've recently got married, and till I was married, I just had an insurance policy which I continue to hold for the next 25 years, and maybe on and off I used to take a 15-month recurring deposit plan. I'd like to know, since both of us are working collectively, how should our approach to just saving change, since we are married? How should we go about the entire financial planning process? So it's at a very basic level, how should we approach it, and what changes should we bring about in our approach to saving?
This is an important thing. Before you answer that, the other aspect to it is, and she very rightly said that when 2 people get married, they bring in a certain set of assets and liabilities into that marriage. So I have certain insurance policies, and he might have certain insurance policies, and I'll have a loan, and so then you wind up combining all of that. Yeah. So how important is it also then to combine the incomes and the salaries and the expenses, and then start treating it as a unit? Because that alone is quite a task, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, like you said, you might have bought that insurance policy with a different purpose before getting married. He might have made,
purely for tax saving.
Yeah, he might have made some investments for some different purpose. Now you need to actually get them into a pool, and then allocate them towards different goals that you have, and just try and mix and match your investments. Treat yourself as a family. You can still continue to hold your investments in your own, individual names, but treat that entire investment pool, income pool as one. I remember I had an investor. The family ensured that wife's income was, went into savings, went into investments over a period of time, and after 30 years of time period, the family created so much of wealth. So I think if you bring in that discipline of not touching one spouse's income, get that completely into investments, I think that discipline will do a lot of wonders to your family. Just treat that income is not coming, and let that go into investments.
There's a very good saying, the discipline is the bridge between the goal and accomplishment.
Yes.
So be disciplined on investment. I'm sure you will accomplish your goals.
We have questions from our audience members. Yes, go ahead.
We intend to start a family. So I just wanted to understand that how we can manage our saving and how we can manage to our expense.
So two things. One is that they will start a family in the next couple of years, so it's important to, sort of financially prepare the family for it, other than just emotionally and, all of those other things. And with the child, then comes the other responsibility. So saving for the child's future becomes, an added goal to add to all of the goals we've already talked about. A new baby costs between 6 and 7 lakh rupees in the first 6 months. So if you combine all the doctors' visits and everything else together, and the prams and the diapers and the baby powder, it comes up to about 7 lakh rupees. So that's something she should start saving for right now, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first thing that you need to really do is start investing, and then you'll have 2 buckets. One is 6 to 7 months from now or 9 months from now when the baby is going to arrive. So you need to save about, let's say at least 3 to 4 lakhs in next 1 year. That's first thing that you need to do. And then also after that you will be subject to saving for his education on an ongoing basis, as well as for his higher education. So you will have to actually get yourself disciplined to the extent of saving as much as 20 to 30,000 rupees a month from today.
Bharat, I want to bring you in here because a lot of times, and this group is not there yet, but a lot of times what happens is young parents write to us and say, there are products in the market that